Hi guys, and welcome back to World of Tanks, and in this video I'm going to be looking at the Panzer 58 Mutz, the new tier 8 German premium tank, and this is one of the Raubtier, that's it, that's what the bundle's called for the Mutz, the Scorpion G. And the Pattern Korea, nearly forgot there which one it was. Now these are the ones that are not earnable. I will be looking at the two of the earnable tanks I've not done yet, the Cromwell Berlin and the Revolorize. I'm just waiting for them to basically be credited to me so I can do reviews of those. So, Panzer 58 Mutz, tier 8 German premium medium. Not bad. I like the way it looks. You can't put camo on it or inscriptions, and in fact I think that's the same for all three of these. You can only put emblems on them, but I kind of like it. It's just understated with the bear on the side of the turret, and you know, it does look quite nice. Now, I don't know if I'll be able to give you particularly many tips for using this, other than ridge lines, because it's got good gun depression, and when you are using the ridge lines, your front can be kind of bouncy. Your turret, not so much. You can bounce a few, but you really can't rely on your armour in this. But it's nippy enough. You know, it's got a good top speed and what have you. But at first I did struggle with it slightly. I've kind of got to grips with it a bit more, and I do like it. I'm not particularly good in it, but yeah, I don't feel that I can give you really any tips particularly on how to use it, but I can at least tell you what it's like, show you what it's like, that sort of thing, and give you a few opinions on it at least. So here I am on the Xbox as well, and I will get going now. There was an issue with it being credited. For some reason it wasn't put into the crediting tool for the PlayStation 4, so I've had to get this one on the Xbox. But you get a 90mm gun now in its own blurb. It says that the original prototype I think had a 90mm. Then there were a few done with 20-pounders, and then there were a few with the 105mm guns, and I believe they were the L1A1 guns, the ones off the Centurions, and I think they were in service for a number of time. But we've basically got the prototype version with the 9cm, or the 90mm, and it's the 9cm cannon. 7.5 rounds a minute, which is a fair, decent enough rate of fire, fairly average. There's stuff that's better down at this tier. Well, up at this tier, sorry. There's also stuff that's worse. So, pretty average rate of fire, all in all. 212 pen, which is kind of nice, with the 88. The 8.8 centimeter that's on like the Tiger and the Panther 2 and stuff. You get 203, which is kind of like enough most of the time. So it's nice to have that extra 10 mil of pen on this. 240 damage, which is your standard 90mm damage. You get 259 for your premium ammunition and 45 320 for your HE. 2.3 second aiming time, which is again pretty average for the tier, so nothing outstanding there particularly. And a 0.36 accuracy, so again not the most accurate gun, not the worst, pretty average with the accuracy. You get 45 degrees of hull traverse, which is pretty nice. You get 36 of turret, and it's not I've not noticed it so far. It doesn't, I sort of complain about that sometimes when there's a big difference between hull and turret traverse. When you turn your hull, especially sharp turns, your turret ends up going with it, so you can't sort of keep tracking or keep looking in the direction that you wanted to with your turret. I've not noticed that as much with this for now, so it might do it. I've not really noticed it yet. 380 meter view range, again slightly lower for the tier, but not too low. There's a lot of sort of 390s and 400s at tier 8, but again it just kind of average tier 8 view range really at 380, and quite a low signal range at 570. Now let's have a look supplies wise. Oh, the cost of this as well, the Tankopedia listed price is 8,700 gold, and again is in a bundle now and is coming in sort of various bundles on a rather irritating timed release. But shell price is 300 for your APCR, so slightly more I think than your normal sort of 88mm equivalent. Not very, not by much. 4,400 for your APCR premium and 255 for your high explosive. Now consumables, I've just a lot of the time when I review these tanks I stick your basic consumables on, but with this one I've got small repair kit, small first aid kit, did have a fire extinguisher, check the engine, and it's only a 12% chance of fire. So I took it off, put the chocolate on, and yeah, it's made a bit of a difference. And to be honest, I think if I do get the Mutz, I'll put that sort of setup on it. Maybe, possibly a premium first aid kit as well, because I have had crew members knocked out a few times in this. So that might be an idea as well, which I'll possibly do when I get my own. Equipment wise, I've just gone for vertical stabilizer, gun rammer, and coated optics, which is my sort of standard medium tank setup. Now, with it being on the Xbox, I've not got a brilliant crew, but so far I've got repairs, situational awareness, sixth sense, and I've got camouflage working up. I would say you want situational awareness on it. Try and get your view range up as much as possible. Premium food items will help towards that as well, because they just sort of improve all your major qualifications. But yeah, I would say you probably want a bigger view range on this. The armour isn't great. You can get a few lucky bounces and what have you, but it's not brilliant. It's not savage either. There's far worse again. But we'll look at that in more detail in a moment. In fact, no, we won't. We'll look at it in detail right now. So, engine-wise, 600 horsepower, not powers. Which translates into a power to weight ratio of 17.15. Again, pretty average for a tier 8 medium. And I know it sounds like I'm being a bit down, so yeah, it's pretty average, it's average. But it's not a bad tank, you know. It's possibly not my favourite, and for me personally, I've found it a bit trickier just to get to grips with initially. Other people out there might not, they'll probably jump in and think, yeah, this is brilliant, I like it. Other people will just think, God, I hate this tank. So hopefully you'll be able to get a better idea of whether it's one for you or not from here. But you get a forward top speed of 50 kilometers an hour, which is nice. 20 in reverse, and only a 12% chance of fire. Fairly small engine. There's not, it doesn't take up a great deal of the tank. Normally it takes up the whole width, but it's kind of small, easier to damage from this side. And to be honest, I have had the engine damaged a few times from hits to the left, or hits in my sort of left-hand side. And there's a couple of bits in the front which I'm assuming are fuel tanks as well. Not had them damaged yet through the front, but I have had it through the side a couple of times, like I say. Concealment, by the way, as well, 0.28 on stationary and 0.22 moving, which is not bad actually. That's fairly nice concealment for a tier 8 medium. Slightly better than some, and again, it's down to the perma camo is slightly increased, but it is on the sort of slightly upper side for most tier 8 mediums. And its bonuses, by the way, 50% silver and 15% XP. Now, the gun. You get 25 degrees of elevation, very nice, no trouble if anything gets above you, and you get a very nice minus 10 degrees of gun depression as well. So like I said before, it's very nice on the ridge lines, you don't have any issue there. Although there is something which I'll mention just after this about the gun depression. Track wise, a couple of gaps at the top that you can get through, but very, very good. Terrain resistance as well, 0.5, 0.7 and 1.4, so its terrain resistances are very good. So it can keep its speed up generally over most types of terrain. Doesn't tend to slow it down much. Turret on top. Radio in the back of the turret, just in the sort of bustle, the overhang there. Ammunition blocks. Well, in the other side of the back of the turret, you've got one up there. You've also got two down in the front, very similar to the Chieftain T95, in fact, in the Centennial. So do bear in mind, if you go through the lower glacis, go for the edges, sort of towards the top of it, and you've got a chance of hitting an ammo rack. And you've got one sort of more or less in the middle, sort of just at the base of the turret, behind, well, where the driver's head would be. So, nice aim shot. You could take the driver's head off and possibly damage an ammo rack. Crew members, driver down in the middle of the turret, middle of the hull, obviously where the hatches are, right in the middle. And then up in the turret itself, you've got the commander under the right-hand side hatch, which is the smaller cupola on the top. And then you've got the gunner and the loader up there as well. Now, armour-wise, well, your basic figures. You've got 120 on the front of the turret, 90 on the front of the hull. You've got 65 on the side of the turret, only 30 on the side of the hull, which is quite poor. And then 40 on the rear of the turret and on the rear of the hull, so its sides are not particularly good. And although 90 doesn't sound too savage for the front, for the hull, It's not quite the whole story. I have had some bounces off the front of the hull though, and from a couple of big things, but they were kind of, as I was reversing it, at a sort of oblique angle. But when you are using your gun depression, it can increase that hull, sort of hull strength quite well. But it is a bit of a patchwork. So 1 to 20 tracks, don't forget they do act as an amount of spaced armour. What looks to be, I don't know if that's a turret ring possibly, I don't think it is actually, but anyway, the engine deck, and yeah, I think that's about it really. Oh, and some small bits. Is that on top of the turret? Yep, top of the turret there, top of the hatches, and a small amount around the gun mantle. 21 to 30 is, well, there's the patch behind the driver's hatch. The very top part of what I assume is the gunner's cupola actually, and the rangefinders on the side of the turret also fall into that. They are weak spots. And there's that patch just at the front of the top of the turret, very similar to on an IS-3, so that will be a weak spot, and if you've got a 90mm or above gun, I would say you'd be able to overmatch that. However, do bear in mind, I put a shell through the front of the turret of one of these from the short 88 on the Indian Panzer, and it sort of went through the front of the turret, either just through the gun mantle or just next to the gun mantle. So even though it's 120 on the front of the turret, don't rely on it. And that's your best bet in this. You know, it's not a tank that you can really rely on the armour, but it is there, and it does tend to bounce just, you know, sort of when you need it, if you kind of see what I mean. But like I say, don't rely on it. You've also got those patches just underneath the turret, either side of the commander's hatch, and then the sides of the tank, and the sort of upper sides apart from the front quarter. 31 to 50. The cupolas themselves, the rear of the turret, the rear of the tank, and your lower glacis, or the sort of the bottom half of your lower glacis, and a couple of patches just as we come forward onto the upper glacis and on top of the turret. Again, it is quite a patchwork. 51 to 70, sides of the turret, a patch on each side of the hull there, and the upper part of your lower glacis, and the very upper part of your upper glacis, where it sort of comes down from the commander's hatch, and then it basically just works its way forward. 71 to 90, a bit further down on the upper glacis. Turret cheeks, I would have said, and just behind the gun mantle. 91 to 120 is the sort of very bottom of your upper glacis, those two little patches there. The commander's hatch is also got a thin strip of thicker armour just in the front of it. The gun mantle as well as a little patch behind it, and then you have a very, very thin, very, very thick strip of armour right on the apex, the join of your upper and lower glacis, which according to the numbers is 200mm thick. So that's the bit you want to point towards your enemy, that 200mm strip. Yeah, a bit odd, don't understand quite why it's there. I'm assuming it's basically because that's where the two plates meet and is probably just the thickest part, so there you go. But yes, it is definitely a bit of a patchwork. I have had the odd bounce off the front of this, like I say, but most things I've come up against have not had any trouble penning me. But if you are, for whatever reason, you can't get to lower glacis, you've got the cupolas on top, the rangefinders. You've also, like I say, it's very much patchwork. Really terrible at side scraping. It probably can be done in this, but it's very dangerous and not worth trying. And your best bet, like I say, so far for me, I found is ridge lines and peek-a-booming sort of thing, staying at medium range if possible. But anyway, enough of me talking in the go. Oh no, sorry, nearly, quickly forgot. You see the fuel cans on the track fenders on either side there? They affect your gun depression. So do bear that in mind. I didn't find that out until a few games in actually. But yeah, those fuel cans on the front do affect gun depression. So your gun cannot go down its full amount over those cans, which is extremely frustrating and irritating. They look nice, but they shouldn't stop my gun. And if they do, don't put them there. That's basically my main gripe about this so far. So yeah, let's get into the replays and I'll show you how it actually handles. Right, so here we are for the first of the replays. It's a tier 8 match. I've only got 2 tier 8 replays for you, but there is a result screen at the end from a tier 10 match as well. Now, this is not the first game that I played. It's the first game that I played that I did alright in. It did take me a couple of games just to get a bit of a handle on it, just to kind of figure it out, really. And like I said in the garage, you can't really rely on its armour. It's not too bad on the front and on the front of the turret, but you know, like I said in the garage, and this is for the benefit of those that have sort of skipped the garage bit, I did put a round from a short 88 through the front of the turret of one of these in a match when I was getting the Roads Tier 10 footage in my Indian Panzer. I think it either went through just the side of the gun mantle or just to the side of the gun mantle. Now, I have noticed as well there's a bit more flickering in this. I'm not sure what it is. I am looking into getting different capture cards, so it doesn't happen very often, but if you can just bear with me with those slight little glitches. So yeah, I'll have to look into one now. I mean, I've had a bit of success in this. I don't know. You see, the front, it does go down to sort of quite flat, but as you sort of pull back up the upper glacis, it is quite rounded and sort of, you know, gets a little bit bouncy, even though it's thin. But it's not something that you want to rely on. It relies more, or it seems to rely more on its mobility than its armour for protection, basically. But its armour, with it being, you know, it's not a flat glacis. It's rounded from front to back, you know, sort of from the bottom to the top of the upper glacis, but it's also slightly rounded from left to right as well, so it can be a little bit trolly and bounce a few shots. So, and again with your turret as well, if you're moving about, you know, with it being quite a rounded turret, that can be a little bit trolly as well. But it's, like I say, don't depend on your armour, depend on your manoeuvrability and your mobility. That's, you know, that's my experience so far. I've not had loads of games in this, and if it does change over the next few days, you know, we'll try and let you know, but that's just how I've sort of found it so far anyway. And it is very mobile. It might not have the best power to weight ratio or the biggest engine or the highest top speed, but it's got very good ground resistance, which really does add to the mobility. I took another shot there, but he wasn't there. And I mean, in this match I sort of play it fairly cautiously, stay back. If I get spotted I generally pull back straight away, that sort of thing. But I think in the next match I play a little bit more aggressively and a little bit more up front. But if you've just, you know, got the front of this tank raised a little bit on a knoll or a bump in the ground, it can make a difference to how bouncy that front can be. And I think I do get a couple of bounces. I don't know if so much in this match, but I do. I think I might get one in this, maybe one in the next. But you'll kind of see what I mean. Now again, I was going for where he was. I really should have pulled back a bit sooner and not risked that shot. And these two, they're just, well, these two and the results at the end, they're just kind of average matches in it to show you what I've sort of been doing. That's what I kind of try and show. I know with the Scorpion G I used a couple of ace ones, you know, with fairly high damage, but they were the sort of average matches I was having in the Scorpion G. With this one I've been averaging roughly about 2,000 upwards of my own damage. Some I've done a bit less, but with situational awareness and coated optics as well, I've been picking up a bit of assisted. In fact, one of them I think I get a lot more assisted than I do of my own damage as well, but it you know, it all helps. It all goes towards your result at the end and gets you, well, experience on the crew and credits as well. But I'm just holding back over here, using that gun depression, popping up, trying to spot, see if I can get a shot at anything. I was counting on him going a bit further forwards and he stopped, so I did miss that shot. But again, it's a bit like with the pattern yesterday. Oh, well, earlier today it actually went up. You know, on paper, a lot of its stats are kind of average. You know, it's sort of an average power to weight ratio, sort of average rate of fire for the tier, that sort of thing. But again, it goes together to make quite a nice medium tank. And I don't know, at first I had a couple of very bad games in it, like I say, and I didn't, you know, I wasn't enjoying it, and I think I just got a bit, I don't know. I think I was blaming the tank for, you know, probably my own performance, I would have said. But the more I played in it, and sort of, you know, got used to it, what it could and couldn't do, you know, what it could take, what it couldn't take. I've been enjoying it, and in all honesty, I think I am going to be looking at picking up the bundle with all 3 in. The accuracy's not great, but it's not bad. Like I say, rate of fire's alright, but it makes a very capable medium tank. And yeah, so like I say, personally, I think I would like to pick up the bundle. Like I say, I think this is a very capable medium. I quite enjoy it. I love the Scorpion G, personally. I know people out there that don't. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the pattern, really. Tank-wise, actual, performance of it, yeah, there's nothing really wrong with it. But this is how I kind of like to try and use this on the levels that, that sort of allow it, is to use the ridge lines and either stay out of sight using team members to spot, the heavies that are further up that can take the hits. I go for that weak spot and managed to get him. Did take it in return. It was worth it at this stage in the match. I was happy with the fact I could take that hit and hopefully take him down, which I did. But yeah, so like I was saying, stay back, use the heavies that are up front, to spot for you that are there already, and the other way is, if I have to get a bit closer, is to basically, just use the ridgeline to pop it up if I can't sit there safely without getting spotted. Pop up, shoot, get back down. Now, yeah, I was fairly confident in the fact that I could get around this guy without taking a hit. I was hoping anyway, but when I started to go up that hill, I was slowing down a bit, so that's why I stopped, pulled back, threw his aim off, and I ended up taking a hit from him right there. But I knew I was going to beat his reload, so it was just a case of finishing him off. Although now, it's at the end of the match. I wish I didn't take that hit. You could always do with not taking a hit. But there's only one medium tank left. It is actually the enemy Panzer 58 Mutz, and he's over near cap. He was actually up on this ridge line. I was shooting at him earlier, and he's now back near cap. We had a couple of guys capping in there. In fact, one of them's just been taken down. He might have taken down 2. Yeah. Nope, the other one's come out of cap, heavy tank, and he's going after him. I've also got that heavy that was with me. Was it Carnarvon? I think it was, yeah, 'cause it's tier 8. He's moving up alongside. I'm just seeing if I can get a hit on him, but I think, looking at where he is, I wasn't sure if he was behind a building and was going to come out, or if he's over a ridge, and I think he is over a ridge. So there's another medium moving in, because he's actually managed to take down the heavy that was at him. The other medium is moving in, so I'm going to push in and try and get there and give him a hand, but unfortunately he actually gets set on fire. Is that an A44? They're front engine and notorious for getting set on fire. So yeah, he was in a very healthy position, and now unfortunately he looks like he's a one-shot kill. There you go, how about that for timing? He was a one-shot kill. So I've managed to sneak up on this guy. However, those other 2 heavies seem to be sort of waiting back there. I don't know if they're thinking they can maybe get a shot on him from back there, I'm not too sure. But I get up, managed to get a shot in, and as you could see there, as I was pulling back, my lower glacis was hidden. The upper was very slow, and that took a bounce. But I've got to be very careful here, because I am a one-hit kill, and he's going to take a couple yet. So that's why I've pulled back around this way, so I've got another sort of small lump in front of me, but he comes around on my side, misses, thankfully, because I just flicked the tank round. And don't manage to get a hit in of my own though, I don't think. Was I reloading, or did I miss? I didn't quite see that, although that one went in. And luckily, I'm still alive. And now those heavy tanks are moving in, they've gone into cap. That should distract him. Yep, he's just taken a shot, so I can now pull up this hill. Get my aim back into the short one in case I need it, and should be able to just put a shot into him to finish him off when I don't get a lag spike. But there we go. Managed to take him down for the match. But that was the that was the first game that I had in that I did quite well in it. Or I think I did quite well anyway. I think it was quite a nice match. And yeah, all those others were losses before that. But 2,823 damage done. and a second class mastery. So people do seem to be doing well in the Mutz. In fact, the people that I've seen in the Mutz, both on PlayStation and on Xbox, have been sort of generally doing quite well for themselves. I don't remember seeing one having a an outstanding game yet. I've seen the Scorpion G get some really good damage, but generally people in the Mutz are doing quite well, and same with the Baton Career as well. Oh, and something that's worth mentioning as well. One of my subscribers, and if I can remember your name, Carlito's Way 1971, I think it is, mentioned to me, because I know I did mention about the bundle. Recently, it's been cheaper to buy the bundle from the PSN or Xbox store than it has been to put the required amount of gold onto your account. To buy it from the in-game store, and I looked on the PS store with the bundle with these 3 tanks in, the Scorpion, the Patton and the Mutz, and it was the same price basically, but by putting the gold on you'd have 500 left over. However, he left a comment saying that he checked on the Xbox store. I don't know if it was Xbox One or 360, or if that even makes a difference with World of Tanks as to the price, but he said he checked on the Xbox store and it did seem to be cheaper on there. I think he said it was about £65. So that does seem as though it may be cheaper. So if you are looking at getting this bundle with the 3 in, just check on the store, whether you're Xbox or whatever, just to see if it is cheaper for you to get it off there than it is to buy it from the in-game store. These bundles, they're not cheap, so if you can save yourself a few quid here and there, it all adds up. Anyway, back to the game. Another tier 8 match on port this time. And again, while I'm just waiting for the action to take place, it's nice that we've had a couple of extra maps added. Well, I'll say a couple of new ones. Ooh, bit of a hit from RT. Could have done without that, without losing half my health at the beginning of the game. But anyway, yeah, we've had the Paris map added, which is quite nice, and I know we've had 2 map variants added, Arctic Summer, and what was the other one? Oh yeah, Sand River Sandstorm, not seen that one yet. But it is nice just to have a little bit more variation in the map rotation at the moment, with those others being taken out of rotation. So I must admit, and I'm sure a lot of you are thinking the same, that it's been getting a bit boring seeing the same maps over and over. But anyway, I'm pulling back. The enemy team are making a good push over there. I lost half my health to an RT, which is not very good. But then I noticed on the map that there was a medium tank chasing me, and he's chased me around here. Now that light tank kept him spotted, I've dropped off, and I think we're going to set a little ambush. So look this way. There we go, I'll take your attention. The knight pulled back, here he comes, and a nice little crossfire for him. So that was quite fun. Just one of those nice moments where it sort of, the people there, the other players, just seem to have the same thought at the same time. So yeah, it was quite nice to set that little ambush. He sort of chased me around almost. Then the light tank sort of distracted him a bit. I made him look my way, and yeah, he was dead. Now it's looking very dodgy over on that sort of, where are we? Upper western side of the map. There are a lot of enemy tanks up there. In fact, there's the enemy Scorpion G. Is that Tiger going to come hammering out? Oh, it is a hammer. Yeah, pun unintended. Yeah, he's going after that IS-5, but I can get a couple of shots in from here. I don't know if I can save the IS-5. No, there's a few too many other things up there shooting at him. I can still take another chunk out of the hammer. Now, what else is up there? And I'm being cautious now, basically, because, well, like I say, I lost half my health. So I've not got a lot to play with. It's pretty even at the minute. And I was just wondering if he was through that wall there, but I think there was actually a train cart the other side of it. Now down here, we seem to have, I don't know, I don't think we cleared that many out. I think mostly they've gone sort of back up to that other corner. So now we really need to make a push up here and try and support the, well, the one poor guy that seems to be left up there. Like I say, my preview window is small, but it does seem as though there's just one medium over there on his own on that western side in a spotted bother. And that's a bit of an understatement, really. Do get a nice hit to the side of this Chieftain T95. And can I get him through there? I could, but it dipped down and just hit the bottom of his track. There's no way of damaging the tank through the bottom. There's no hole there. And that one went wide, and I think, to be honest, it's time to see if there's anything else that I can actually hit and be a bit more helpful. But now, that medium, he's survived. He's held them off and he's survived. We've come up. There's that heavy tank there, a couple of TDs just off to my right, and now there's a light tank. Is it moving through the buildings? In fact, a medium's taken out RT, but it looks like he's about to be taken down himself. And I dropped off radar, and I'm going to move along here and see if I can come up a different spot and do a bit of damage. In fact, there's the Chieftain T95, although that one, I don't know if that missed, or did that go high and bounce off his upper glacis. I've got the side of his turret. Wait for the aim. Should have waited. Really should have waited for that one. But I've got a good shot at that big gun cupola weak spot on top. And that is a big downside on the Chieftain T95, on the Centennial. In fact, there's a few tanks with those big cupola weak spots on top. Mostly American. Not always though, because obviously that's a British tank and one of them's Chinese, which is the Legion, but never mind. Just ignore me. But thanks to a bit of luck, and it looks like the rest of our team, including myself, just coming up there at the right time, we've managed to clear them off that corner. It was nice to get them in a crossfire rather than all just trying to shoot at the strongest parts of the tank. It was just, I don't know, this match, it did look a bit iffy at one point, as though it was going to go very, very bad. But it did work out, actually going quite nicely in the end. And it just sort of all worked out, you know, people got where they needed to be just at the right time. And yes, he should be just through that wall about there. And then all we've got is, nope, no, we've got nothing left. I was about to say all we've got is a medium tank, but no, he's dead as well. Medium tank, light tank. And there we go. So, not a bad game. Not the best I had in it. I got more in the last game, and I think I've had more damage since. But 2,000 damage. To be honest, I can't really grumble. Like I say, if I'd not lost half my health at the beginning, I probably would have played a bit more aggressively. Maybe got a bit more damage done. But it does give you a good idea of what the Mutz is like, really. So there you go. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. I've really enjoyed making these 3 videos. They've been nice tanks to drive, all 3 of them. And I will be doing the last 2 reward tanks hopefully soon. But here's just another couple of results screen. This one was the tier 10 match. I think came 3rd, so again, not too bad. Not brilliant, but not too bad. Can't really grumble. But there you go. Anyway, like I say, I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you found it informative. And I'll be back tomorrow with another video for you. So until then, take care out there, and I'll catch you next time. See you later.